Hi everybody, and welcome to another Hangout on Air for our collaborative members. We're just getting started. We're going to wait just a minute here to allow people to connect. For those that want to bring the slide deck up, we have a bit.ly short link. I'm going to share that on my screen here real quick for those that have joined us. We have a short link for the slide deck, and you can follow along with that slide deck. It's bit.ly/inboxHOA or inbox hooah if you're Al Pacino from Scent of a Woman, maybe. So you can follow along with that, and we'll get started here in a minute and make the introductions and start talking about Inbox by Gmail.
I did like that reference to a Scent of a Woman hooah. A reference is good, Tom. I have to
like that.
That's the best.
There you go.
The best start to Hangout I think we've done. So
that's what I'm all about.
I'm giving you props for that.
Pizzazz. There you go. For those that are just joining us, we have a few minutes before we start here. There is a question and answer module in the Hangout on Air application that you're watching right now. If you go up to the top right corner, you'll see a 9-square, almost like the app launcher. If you click on that, you'll see the question and answer module. Please feel free to ask questions. We're going to be monitoring that throughout the Hangout and try to answer them as we go. It's a slight delay. You're going to be about 15 to 20 seconds behind what we're talking about, but we'll monitor those and try to swing back and answer them. So using that 9-square app module at the top, you can bring up the question and answer module and ask your questions there.
Okay, I think we should let's get.
I think we're good to go. Okay.
Yeah.
If anybody's just joined us, this is the Inbox by Gmail Hangout on Air for our collaborative members. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. We have a bit.ly short link for the slide deck. It's bit.ly/inboxHOA, and you can follow along with that. And I'm just going to stop the screen share here for a second. We can do some introductions. So welcome. I'm Tom Woods from Amplified IT again with you. I have the man Peter Henry with me as well down below.
Hey guys, everyone, I'm going to be doing the question and answers, so I'm going to be monitoring what you guys are asking. So if you have questions, Tom already mentioned there's a little waffle iron or 9-square in the top corner. Click on that and ask us a question. I can't guarantee we're going to be able to answer that question just because Inbox is relatively new. But what we have done is we've brought on, well, I'm not going to call him an inbox guru, but we put the call out to our collaborative and said, does anyone use inbox at the moment in their personal accounts? And Mike from Frederick County Public Schools in Virginia said, yes, he does. So Mike, could you just introduce yourself? Well, I already told where they're from, but what do you do at Frederick County?
Mike Procise. I'm a network engineer here at Frederick County and one of the primary administrators for our Google domain. We use Google for just about everything in the district, from our one-to-one initiative to our regular office use of Drive, sites, that sort of thing. And of course, we use Gmail. So we're definitely going to be taking a look at Inbox to see if it's a direction we want to take.
And you currently, because Inbox has been released to personal Gmail accounts for a year or two now. It's been a considerable amount of time, and you're currently a user of that.
Yeah, I jumped in early. I was just kind of curious to see what it was, and I've been using it since and really haven't looked back personally. I do enjoy it from a personal standpoint. The big question is how's it going to look from a more corporate professional mail system?
Well, Tom, let's have a look at it then.
Great points. Yep. Okay, great. I'm going to bring the slide deck back up. We're going to look through the slide deck. We'll talk about what Inbox is, how it's enabled, what impact that may have in our educational environments. Try to handle some questions along the way if we can, and then talk about maybe some use cases for it. Okay, so again, bit.ly/inboxHOA, and that slide deck will remain available to you even after the Hangout on Air today. We've got myself, as we introduced it, and Peter Henry from Amplified IT, and we've got Mike Procise from Frederick County Public Schools in Virginia along with us as well to give us his thoughts. Again, real quickly, and here's a bit of a screenshot of it as well for you. We've got a question and answer app up in the top corner in the 9 squares up in the top corner of the window that you are watching, and you can post some questions there on a slight delay, and we'll try to get to them. This can be watched live right now, but it can also be watched at any time because it's a Hangout on Air. It's archived and recorded in Google Plus and on YouTube, so you can always come back to this Google Plus link in the collaborative Google Plus communities and find it, or under past events in the older Google Plus, and be able to watch this. And then at that point, if you bring up the question and answer module, you can actually click on the questions and it will jump to the exact moment in the timeline when we're actually answering those questions, and save you having to scroll around and try to find the point in the video when we talk about that particular question or topic. So that's why the Q&A module is a pretty good deal and works pretty well.
And I'll also, Tom, I'll also post this in the community just so that the link is right there, so people can, that's why I always try and do these Hangouts, post it on the Collaborative Plus communities so that you guys can just go straight to it and see it when you need to.
Okay, that's great. So we'll take a look at what Inbox for Gmail is, and this is something that's fairly new for a lot of us. You know, you might have been using it on your personal Gmail account like Mike has, but maybe we haven't seen this or heard much of it at all, and this is all pretty new. Inbox by Gmail is something Google and the Google team has created as a different way of dealing with email. It's a new method of looking at your email and going through your email and dealing with it daily, and how you sort of organize your own personal workflow. It seems to be directed towards certain types of users and certain types of workflow habits. It's the type of person that potentially likes to deal with their email periodically or sporadically throughout the day in batches, whereas Gmail might be a little bit more oriented to someone who sits in front of their email all day long, at more of an office or administrative role at a desk and looking at Gmail all day. So we'll take a look at the options in Inbox and what that means and how that might fit or not fit for our teachers and our staff and potentially even students and how they work. A few pieces to know as well, that once Inbox has been offered to a GAFE domain or to a group of users under a managed Google environment, it cannot be revoked. So we'll talk about that, and we'll also take a look at maybe some vault implications that may be present that we have to think about and consider as well. So what Inbox is all about are mainly these 4 features, and these are the differences from regular Gmail. Inbox has something called bundles, and what bundles are mainly are an algorithm, some of that Google magic in the background, that's going to place like emails together. It's going to look for commonalities in the emails, subjects, certain words, things that are happening within the body of the email, and try to automatically place those under some preset bundle categories that come with Inbox. Or possibly you can create your own and adjust them to bundle emails automatically together yourself. So if we take a look at Inbox itself, I've just got it up here for my account. This is what Inbox looks like, slightly different interface than Gmail. And we have these bundles over here in the corner. So we've got bundles on the left. We can see some of the pre-made ones from Google. If I take a look at trips, we'll see that it's going through my emails and it's consolidated together emails regarding some of the trips I've taken. Maybe those are emails from the airlines confirming my reservation, maybe rental car purchases, anything like that, may be organized into these bundles, and we can take a look at them and then go through those individual messages. It's taking a look at purchases, and maybe I've booked hotels or purchased items, rented cars and things like that. It will bundle those together. We can also then go in and take a look at bundles and make our own. So if we take a look at a bundle that we've created for ourselves, we can create almost like labels, almost like rules where we want to look for certain things.
Interrupt you. People have lost your screen share. So do you want to
sure.
jump off it?
Stop it.
Yeah, stop it and restart it. And hopefully they're seeing your face. I'm just going to watch the live.
Sure. Should be back up now.
I think that's fixed it.
Okay.
Yep, that's working.
Okay, great, thank you. I'm gonna back up a step in case people missed a little bit of that on the screen share. I'm in the Inbox interface. I'm just going to focus down here on bundles. We've got some of the pre-built bundles here from Google that are going to take a look at finance or trips or some very, maybe business-oriented bundles that are pre-built from Google. We can make our own custom bundles as well. So we can build our own bundle, then we can configure that bundle and make almost like filter rules or labels to say, I want to take a look at any emails from a particular person with a certain subject. We can string these together with and make some rules that are going to identify those mails and bundle them together. And then we can make new bundles as well.
One of the things that I had sort of heard from talking to people about this is that bundling does take some time to figure out. and to kind of train it to do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's definitely some manual work as well as the algorithm working in there as well. So it's not like it's just going to be super smart day one, but
Yeah.
it learns during that. I don't know, have you noticed that, Mike?
Yes, I have actually. I found early on that it was slightly frustrating, but as it learned, it's really become quite useful. The trips one particularly is absolutely wonderful, again for personal use.
Mhm.
But I have found that the bundles to be really quite effective.
But it just for users first using this, there might be some frustration. People, and if someone's quick to kind of dismiss things, then I could see a lot of people just going,
Yep.
oh, don't want to deal with this, go back to Gmail. It's going to take someone that actually wants this to work. I think before they've got to put something in before they're going to get anything out of this.
For sure. And the pre-built bundles from Google with the algorithm are really the ones that are going to take the time to learn. I think, Mike, in your experience, did you make custom bundles of your own? And because those have very defined rules, they typically just worked well right away?
Well, I found that my existing rules and labels, some of those came in and it started to use them immediately. So that was nice. But then I did also create a couple custom ones, and it took a few emails for it to learn. But I was actually surprised at how quickly it picked it up.
Yeah, well, that's good.
It did take time. You do have to put investment into it.
This plus posting one, in my particular, that was a filter rule from my Gmail that has sort of been brought over here into bundles and automatically brought in as a bundle. So that's what happened for me on that one there. So that's what bundles look like. Again, can be pretty customized. I know there's some videos out there that can give you some good tips on how to create your own bundles and the logic towards making a good smart bundle that's going to hopefully capture in its net all those emails that you want it to capture. So one of the other pieces to Inbox is highlights, and highlights is fairly simple, but can be a fairly useful feature and a lot different than what we're getting in Gmail. What highlights are all about are, if I go back to my incoming mail flow here in Inbox, is almost that Google Now type sneak peek into the email. So if it's something like an email with images, I can see the images here on the preview. Maybe it's an attachment. Maybe it's a calendar invite and I can see details about the calendar invite. Maybe I can accept or not accept the calendar invite. So we're getting that insight, as you can see, into a lot of the email without even having to open it. So again, that's the Google engines in the background facing out the pieces that it thinks are valuable for that highlights. The reminders are really, I think, where Inbox then kind of turns the corner. It's really bundles and the snoozing and the reminders that really do it for us. Reminders are about making a to-do list. It's about leaving those marks on certain emails to come back and remind you of doing tasks later. So setting reminders and setting time periods for that. So if I was looking at a particular email, I might decide that I want to look into this later. I'm going to pin this email, and what pinning does is keep it at the top of my inbox view so that it's there at the top, and I know that that's maybe unaddressed, and I have to look into this later when I'm back to my email after teaching a class or whatever it might be and have to deal with this. And after I pin it, then I have the opportunity to set a reminder. And if it can, Google's going to pre-populate a reminder here intelligently. If it can determine what the email is about, it might put a reminder there. That makes a lot of sense for you. And if not, you can then place a reminder yourself, whatever this may be for, and save that. You can also then set a time or a snooze time for that reminder to come back up, and we can do that on any email. And then later in the day, it's going to pop up and remind you when you're in your inbox or on your cell phone, and you can deal with that. So reminders and inbox in general are about that workflow management. There's certain things that you can't deal with right now. You don't want them in front of you. You want to push them off to another time. And that's a lot about what the snooze feature is all about as well. So if I'm looking at my feed, these are incoming emails. I don't want to mark them as done or sweep them away, and marking them as done in inbox takes them out of this list. You know, they're going to be archived, so to speak. They're going to be removed from my view. They're going to go under done over here so that I don't have to be bothered with them. I'm not staring at this big long list of email. But if I want to snooze an email, maybe, you know, for Ryan's email here, I don't want to deal with that till later today, and you can adjust these preset times. maybe I want to pick a particular time. Maybe I can't deal with that until Monday at 9, 8 a.m., whatever the case may be, and save that. And then that's going to disappear for now and then come back to haunt me on Monday at 8 a.m. and say, you wanted to deal with this email from Ryan at this time, and it's going to come back up into the main feed at the top here.
For anyone who's using the Boomerang feature, well, it's an actual app that you add into your Gmail. I use it all the time for majority of my mails. It's the exact same idea. So I pay for Boomerang to bring emails back when I think I need them, or to remind me of, hey, I emailed that person 4 days ago. I haven't got a response from them, that kind of thing. So I really see this as this is one of the things that gets me interested, because I'm like, well, I actually add a piece into Gmail to be able to do some of this functionality. So having this built in would maybe make life better for me. So that's the one thing in Inbox that makes me go, maybe I want to try that.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think my feelings so far with Inbox just in the last few days are I really get that feeling like it's for that periodic checker of email. It's that teacher between classes, maybe, and maybe we can hear from the audience about that. If I'm a district office person or an administrative person, maybe I might be more comfortable in Gmail having it in front of me all day long. I think one of my worries in Inbox might be if an email comes in and gets sort of miscategorized in a certain bundle, am I going to miss it? Is it going to be hiding under that bundle, and I may not necessarily check those bundles all the time and maybe miss out on something urgent? Maybe worries like that. Mike, do you have any experience with, when you think about it used in a corporate environment or in a school administrative environment, do you think that would be a concern with Inbox, is whether people are going to see all the emails effectively?
It has happened with me personally. I've had messages that get categorized, and I have it set for a couple of my bundles where it only notifies me at 9 a.m. So I get once a day notifications, and I had a message that got bundled in there that was a little more time sensitive. So it's certainly a possibility. And I think that's that part where you're going to have to invest the time into training it properly, and even then it's not perfect. It's very good, but it's not perfect.
And I think the thing to remind people, though, is that you don't have to use one or the other. You can use them both, because they are very interchangeable in that regard. I'm not sure people will want to do that, because I feel like it's a different way of looking at email. But even at the beginning, if you are unsure and a little bit worried, you could still look at them both, and maybe using them at different times of the day. Maybe using Inbox for a certain period and certain workflow, and using Gmail for another workflow might be an idea.
Yeah, I've been trying to juggle both the last week. I admittedly have spent more time in Gmail just because of our time-sensitive world at Amplified. I needed to definitely see individual emails as they came in, trying to be in Inbox. I can choose to go to the Inbox URL, or I can go to the Gmail URL. And then when I go to Gmail, it says, you're using Inbox. Do you want to go there, or do you want to continue to be directed to the Gmail interface? And I say, no, bring me to Gmail, and good old Gmail still comes up. I've heard from a lot of people as well, and saw some comments out there about people maybe liking Inbox on their mobile because it was very mobile oriented in its design. And maybe when you're on the go and you're not checking every single email, Inbox on your phone is a great way to see things at that 30,000-foot view by type and category and content of email, in bundles and the like. Swipe them away when you're done. But when I'm sitting at my desk, I like the full Gmail interface, perhaps.
And just as you were saying that, Candice actually posted that question, or that statement really, of saying that I think, on your mobile or cell phone, this might be a good workflow using Inbox, because once again, when Inbox was developed by Google, it was developed for more of an app type situation. So I think it has been with that those kind of colored glasses of saying, hey, we're gonna use it, we're gonna develop an app of this first, and then have the web client after that.
Yeah, help people that are on the run with their mobile and can only do emails sporadically in batches while they're getting time in between driving and things like that. Just to finish off, so those are all the benefits of Inbox that we see, or at least its main features, whether we feel they fit well for us and our staff and students and administrative staff or not, and that can be talked about. But what are the limitations of Inbox? So if you did work fully out of Inbox, there's no out-of-office feature, and that right there might be the Achilles heel of it. If we're going to expect to use Inbox only, perhaps, how do we handle being away from the office on vacation if there's no out-of-office notification? So that seems to be one of the lacking pieces right now. There's no options for desktop notifications like there is with Gmail, where you can get notifications that pop up in the corner of your Windows desktop and things like that on emails. It only currently supports Gmail, so we can't connect it to Exchange Mail or have that come into the inbox service by any means at this point. So there are some limitations there. Mike, I think, touched on it very well, that this could be a big shocker to our teachers and to our staff. Is there going to need to be training talked about? Do we need to plan this out? If even we're going to offer it as an option, it could be a startling change for a lot of users. Do we need to talk about PD and training possibly? Do you have something?
I think, yeah, I was going to say, like, if people were scared of going from Outlook to Gmail, then I wonder what people would be like if they saw Inbox. So yeah, I think that's certainly something. If you've just got your staff settled in Gmail and they've kind of put down their pitchforks, then giving them this or showing them this, they might be like, oh no, they're going to make us go to this now. This is too much. I think that's certainly something to worry about as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I alluded earlier to Vault possibly being into the conversation here. We're not exactly sure how this will interact with Vault 100% yet, but we do know there's statements from Google that Vault retention periods may be affected by the snooze feature. So if you snooze something and tell it to not come back to bother you until after a retention period may end in Vault, emails may disappear for a period of time and no longer be listed or shown in Vault as well, but then suddenly come back later when the snooze bell goes off and that email is to come back. So it could affect what we see and what we search in Vault depending on what people are doing with snooze.
I would say that, though, the only thing I kind of go to that is the hope is people are not snoozing things for too long. To me, a snooze is a short-term thing, and whereas a Vault retention with most of the districts I think we're going to be talking to is a long-term thing. We're talking 3 years, 7 years indefinitely. That could certainly be a challenge. So yeah. So I'm just saying we've got another, so Ken, you've just asked a quick question. Can we hold off on making this available in our domain? If so, how do we do that? We're going to actually cover that just very shortly. You still there, Tom? Okay, Tom, you're muted. I don't know if you're trying to talk. Oh, I might have lost him. So while we're doing that, I can actually show you how we actually turn the service off. So let me just share my screen because actually Tom has just disappeared and is coming back as we speak. I'm going to share my screen.
Hey, I'm back.
Oh, hey, Tom. Okay, so what we were just about to do was show, because one of the questions, again, I don't know where we lost you, but one of the questions was how do we actually stop this coming onto our domain? So I can actually just do that right now.
You want to do that? Sure.
All right. So this is I'm in an admin console, and you obviously, but this is actually a Google for Work admin console because this has access to this service right now. So we believe what your GAFE one's going to look like is going to be very similar. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to be in company profile, and you're going to want to go down to profile, and you're going to scroll down, and this is what you're going to have to worry about. This one right here. New products. If you have this set to automatic, then this will come on and turned on for all. Inbox will come into your domain and be turned on for all of your users, right? We would highly recommend you set to manual. If you've done one of our audits, one of our kickstarts, or been to many of our different technical trainings, we will always tell you this setting first. You should be set to manual. We have no real reason to ever set this to automatic. Always set this into manual, because what that's going to do is it's going to give you the option of when you want to release things. And we've been saying that since I started presenting 4 years ago, saying that same sentence, and this is exactly the reason for it. Google will release new services, and you want to make the choice of when that's released to your users. Don't make Google give you that choice. So once that has been set to manual, then the service will come in as off. Where you're actually going to see the service is you're going to be going into your app section, and I'm going in here, and I'm going to go into the core apps, and then I'm going to be selecting Gmail. Once I click on Gmail, I'm then going to be going into user settings. Now, there's quite a number of user settings in there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little filter along the top. This is one of the updates that Google released probably half a year ago now. I'm just going to type inbox because that's what I'm looking for. And this then gives me this option here. This is the important part. So what this tells me is enable inbox by Gmail. Now, it does look like you can enable it via OU structure. The major thing you'll see here is I can't untick this because this got done. One of our team came in here and decided to enable it, and then that was it. It was enabled, and we now have Gmail on this domain. We have inbox for Gmail on this domain. So that's the major thing for you. This will come in as unticked. Once you tick this and you click and you see here, you have I understand the following. So you have to actually tick these double ticks before you save it. You will, once enabled, the availability of Inbox by Gmail cannot be disabled for users. Enabling Inbox by Gmail does not impact the user's ability to use the existing Gmail service. And then another part says Inbox by Gmail was created to help reinvent the way you get things done, blah, 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 blah. However, note that Inbox is not meant to match Gmail feature for feature. Some traditional features, for example, getting out of office replies, are not available in Inbox at this time. And then it also mentions a little bit about Vault,
right?
And just kind of gives you that worry. But the main thing, the reason they're making you double tick is because of this. Once enabled, it cannot be disabled. So you have to be committed because you're not going to be able to take this away. And that's a very different way of doing things that we usually don't see in the admin console. Usually we have complete control and we can add or remove whenever we want, and it pretty much is instantly updated. This is not that. The reason that we believe that this is the case, though, is because of those things like bundles and snoozing. When you're kind of affecting mail by putting it away and asking it to come back, then if you disable inbox, then that mail will not come back, and then users could potentially lose mail. So I believe the way that Google have done it is said, well, we're not going to allow inbox to be disabled, and that means you're not going to lose any mails whatsoever because the snoozing will always be added. So that's the major thing about this call is once you enable inbox, you cannot disable it.
I think one point to clarify too, Pete, is that word on the screen there, the availability of inbox. Checking those two boxes off is not forcing everyone to suddenly get the inbox interface. It's still a user, elected option. They have to choose to start using inbox. So hopefully that clarifies it as well for Ken's question, that we can hold it back. If we do decide to offer it, that is maybe the correct term. We're offering it to the users. They could still choose to not do it, but they can then elect to start using inbox if they want. It's not a forced thing at all.
And we just got a question. So Candice is asking to clarify, though you cannot turn it off once enabled, individual users can still decide to toggle between. Yes, absolutely. So if you have this turned on, a lot of your users are never going to notice that it's been turned on. They're not even going to know to go in there. There's two ways you can get into Inbox. Well, two main ways other than the app on your phone is go to inbox.google.com or go to the app launcher and you can get a little inbox icon in there. So those are the two ways. So if your users don't go into these, they're not really going to notice that it exists. So you could have this enabled and no one uses it. I think that the bigger concern though is this going to create a lot of questions and maybe you're not ready for those questions. So I think you want to be prepared by not enabling this at the beginning and then making the decision going forward.
Yep, and I think we've covered everything we had in the last slide here. Just to summarize, it's enabled in the admin console, and it looks like by OU from what Pete can see in the work domain, so that's a good thing at least. Once enabled, we can't take it away, so users can choose to do it, but we can't revoke it because it may severely impact mail, and I think that's a technical issue for Google, why they've done it that way. Users can get the Android app or the iPhone iOS app. They could do inbox there. They could do Gmail on their desktop. It can be accessed if you go to the inbox.google.com URL. That will get you started, and you can choose to go into inbox and start using it. I've done that, yet I can still go to my Gmail interface. I can still go to mail.google.com. It does prompt me that I have enabled inbox. Do I want to stay at Gmail or go to inbox? And I just say, no, today I want to look at Gmail, and I'm there. There's also a setting within the inbox settings, and I've got it on the screen here, just a quick grab of it. You can redirect Gmail to inbox so that if personally, as a user, even if I type mail.google.com, I want everything just to go to inbox no matter what, because I'm all in for inbox and love it. You can have it redirected. Setting it to manual, as Pete showed us, is the way to make sure you only roll this out when and if you choose to. And districts that are set to automatic, if you're still set to automatic after August 15th and this option comes into the console, then you maybe need to go and turn that setting off and make sure it's not being offered to any of your OUs.
So Tom, we've got a number of questions, so let's start going through some of these. So the first one, Chris asks, if Inbox is turned on, do we know if Google Apps Help, which is formerly Synergize, has been updated so users can follow guided tutorials?
Oh, that's a great question.
Chris, at the moment, checking on our system, no, there is no Inbox. There is no help at the moment in Inbox. With regards to Google Apps Help, as in the structured way that Synergize used to be, there is obviously a help basic stuff, but none of it's the fancy things that the interactive just-in-time training. So at the moment we do not see that, and so I would guess that on Monday that will not be there. Next question. All right, Carl, let's see what you're saying. You just said users will probably not know if it exists. Do you guys have any indication of how it will be announced to users? On Monday, will they get a little notification or something like that? So I had seen that in the Waffle Iron or the apps launcher, had a little thing there that said something about Inbox. There's like a little thing that said popped up that said try Inbox. So I haven't seen anything other than that. And so I'm guessing that there might be something that kind of says, hey, give Inbox a try. So it could potentially cause you issues because people are like, well, what's this? Then they go into it and they might worry that, yes, they're in this. And now, can they get back to Gmail or not? Those things. So there's definitely a risk, but it's the way that Google want to do this is they're not taking away any functionality. They're just saying, hey, try the new stuff, but you can always go back to the home base if you want to.
Yeah, and I think we would hope that maybe the users don't directly get an email from Google saying, hey, try Inbox. That doesn't happen too often in education, so we don't expect, I think, that to happen. Keeping in mind, too, that if we do not enable Inbox for any of our OUs, they can go to inbox.google.com and they won't be able to use it with their district GAFE account because we have not enabled it for them to do that. They can go do it with their personal Gmail account, but they won't be able to until we give them that option.
And one more question. I think it's more a point from Candice is Gmail mobile app lets users add more than one account at a time. I think Inbox does the same. Users can add their personal Gmail and work. Mike, do you use the Inbox app on your phone?
I do, but I do not have my Frederick County account tied to it, so I have not tried that. I really can't comment on that portion.
Okay, yeah. So until it's available, we don't know. I'd imagine Google are very good about usually allowing multiple profiles on all of their systems, but yeah, we don't know for sure.
From what I can see, Pete, in my Inbox interface that I've been using this week, in the settings, there's a few things about a signature and snooze settings and things like that, and redirecting Gmail. There's no options to add in another mail account.
Okay.
That I see currently.
All right, that's interesting because if you look at any of the other Gmail accounts, Google account, Google Apps, and Chrome on your iPhone or your YouTube or Drive or anything, it's all got multiple profiles. So that's interesting that this one doesn't.
Yeah, doesn't look like it's there.
Okay. What's next on the deck, Tom?
That was it. We were at the question and answer, and then any discussions about using this or not using this.
So I think the question I have is, Mike, at Frederick County, what are you going to do on Monday? What's your plan, or what is the plans at the school district at this point with regards to Inbox?
Well, we do have it set to manual, so that will not automatically roll out on Monday, 2 days before students show up, because that would be a bit of a bad idea, I think. We have regular Google implementation meetings, so I've already suggested that this be an agenda item for that first meeting to at least start those discussions. I was concerned that this was going to be like contacts in that once we turned it on, it was going to automatically turn on for everybody, and that was a big concern for me, but it sounds like that's not going to be the case, that it's simply going to give them the option if they go find it, basically. Yeah. So I think there's less fear of this one being available, but it's still something that I think we want to do deliberately and decide when we're going to turn it on and make sure the users are aware of it beforehand. I'm certainly not against it. I use it personally. I do have questions as to how well it will work in a corporate environment. I kind of like the idea of using Inbox on a phone and Google Mail on my desktop, though. That seems to make a bit of sense for me personally in my work environment, but we'll see. We're going to have those discussions once those meetings start up, probably a week or two after school returns.
So go ahead, Pete.
I'll go for it, man.
I was just going to ask Mike, do you think, Mike, that you'd wait for the cry to come out from the staff and from the users before you would maybe even consider enabling it, and wait to see if there's pushback to have this from them? Whether they can even find out about it or not, I guess, is the first question. But
it's a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, we obviously, in any organization, you're going to have those users who want to push the envelope and really want to get the new technology first. I mean,
Early
I do that
adopters,
myself. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and hear what those have to say. But I think even with that, unless we get some large percentage of the district saying we want this and we want it now, we're probably going to wait. I mean, we do like to use the new technology. I really think, this is my personal opinion, I think that inbox is the direction Google is going with their mail. It may not look exactly like this when they fully implement it, but it's going to change the inbox, or it's going to change your inbox to look something like inbox. So why not at least start the process of seeing what issues there are and get our users used to it. I mean, if you're just looking at the interface, it looks like Google's current, what are they calling it?
Material design.
Yeah, material design. So it's the direction they're going. Eventually, it will not be an option. So I'd rather be ahead of it than here's the deadline, we've got to turn it on now.
Seems like that material design and that intelligence and machine learning is something they want to bake right into your email and not just have it be plain Jane 20 years ago email anymore.
Agreed. Yeah.
So I posted a poll on the communities before this call, and just to give people the results, I kind of said, are you planning on Monday to enable this? 12% have said yes, they're going to enable it for staff. Basically, I think 40-something people have voted, but 12% have said yes for staff. 0% have had yes for students only. 17% have said yes for staff and students. So that basically means 29% are going to enable for staff and or students. 22% have said no, they're not going to be doing it, and 49% have said we're unsure of what we're going to do.
Right.
And I think that's the kind of thing. Everyone's a little bit unsure. So I think people are always always want to ask me, like, what do we, enough talking, tell me what to do. What I would say, and this is a personal opinion, is that I would wait. I think you guys are going back to school. You've got the kids coming back, you've got the staff coming back. This is not the time to be dog fooding something new. I think what you want to do is wait for the craziness of school starts to happen, and then once things have settled down, then look to something new and kind of giving them something new to play with, and then turning this on for your staff first of all, letting them see where it is, get used to it, and then maybe turning it on for the students. And to me, that's what I would do if I was in this situation, just because I think my imaginary school self has enough to do in the next couple of weeks without dealing with that.
I'd add one quick thing to that. The ability to turn this on by OU is really nice. It's not something we had with contacts, and that will give us the chance to turn it on just for IT staff, which is very likely what we will end up doing first, is turn it on for IT and then branch out from there.
Pilot it. Yeah, I'd be interested to know too, Pete, from your poll, the districts or people that said they were turning it on, for staff and students. Are there any training plans? Do they feel that this requires training? Do they have plans then to bring staff in for in-services or provide them materials or videos? Are they just going to let people figure it out on their own? I'd be interested to know the approach that they plan to take if they are enabling it too.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's what I mean. It is one of these things, because you're not taking something away from people, you're only adding something to them. So you can in turn just let everyone go wild with it, but just know that your questions and call queue might rise because of that, just because of so that's where we are with it. So if people have questions or plans on what they're going to do, please post in the communities and let us know your plans. So if you've got some training you're going to plan, or just whatever you think you're going to do, let's start some discussions. I really am very interested in seeing what's going to happen. But for us, I think we're advising at the beginning, hold off, let the water settle a little bit, and then maybe do a staged rollout. Put a certain number of staff first, the rest of the staff, and then maybe give it to the students, and go from there.
Yep.
Cool. I've gone through all the questions. So do you guys have anything else you want to add?
Mike, any comments?
Just one question, which I don't think we can answer today, is Google Mail ties in with so much we do in the EDU environment. Google Classroom. Is there going to be an impact if our students using Inbox and Google Classroom? Just something to think about. I don't know the answer to that. So.
I think it's a great point, and because obviously this hasn't even been released to EDU before. What does that mean for Classroom? I mean, I think Classroom's just going to have the same, emails just going to coming into inbox, so it shouldn't cause too much of an issue. But I think all these things are just interesting to see where it goes from. So it's something to keep an eye on. And once again, another reason that to do a rollout of this when you're slightly less busy than when everything else is there's so much more change happening. This is at least one of the changes that you can control from the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. Should we do a leaping high five like the Googlers on the video? Virtually?
If only physically we're in this at least Mike and I are in the same state. You might have a little bit of a way to do it. All right. Well, anyway, thanks very much.
Pretty excited Googlers. Yeah. And thanks very much for Mike for participating with us. That was great, Mike. We appreciate all the insight.
Thank you for having me.
And what we want to do is we continue to kind of bring in the schools that are part of our collaborative on so that we can really hear from their perspective. But for the moment, thanks very much for everyone for watching. And Candice says thank you as well. Thank you for your comments, Candice, in the Q&As. But we will hopefully have another Hangout on air. For all the collaboratives, you guys are all meeting up in September or October, depending on what part of the US or Canada you're in. So you will probably see Tom or myself or one of the other team at one of those collaborative meetups. So see you soon. Bye-bye.
Great. See you at the next one. Thanks.
Bye.